Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Goet, and I am currently work at Wright Pat Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. I am a contract specialist out there working with acquisitions and purchasing. Right now, I purchase flight simulators for single prop or dual prop aircraft that are utilized at the academy, that are flown by the brand new cadets or the instructors. I am also the administrator for a multiple award contract, which utilizes 25 big companies, small companies, so they can order off of their big airplanes, and everything from the B 2 bombers to the C 17s, and everything in between. I've had a lot of experiences there. I have been there for about a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half. Started off purchasing warehousing materials, then it was computers and IT software, and now flight simulators. I'll be there for about another year and a half. Then I'm going to rotate to a different position, different buying experience. So the context of air power, I'm buying the flight simulators right now, so our pilots, our airmen, can be better prepared, better trained on how to utilize and fully develop and take advantage of the air power that the United States Air Force can offer. As for part two, kind of the takeaway from the self-paced content. What content has made me think differently about air power, national security, warfare, or joint operations? I'd have to say kind of one of the classes that really did that for me was the introduction to joint operations. That class really kind of broke down in more detail on what it takes for joint operations to really succeed. Before that, before that class, the only experience I had was really, oh hey guys, our aircraft may be used by the Navy, or we may buy this for the Navy, or we may buy this for the Army, but there wasn't any real intermingling between the two. I didn't see it until after the class, and it was like, oh, okay, so this is how this all works. We're talking, obviously in the war theater frame, where we have your amphibious assaults and then your grounding incursions and then the air support. But interestingly enough, after that course, I was able to order off of a Army-owned contract, and that was very interesting because I had to work closely with the Army counterpart, contract specialist buyer, or whatever the Army calls them. I don't remember. I should. That's terrible of me that I don't. But I had to work with them to really make sure everything was done and streamlined on their process, because it was their contract, so I had to follow their rules. And that was interesting to see, even though we're all working for the Department of Defense and basically same contracting principles, different methods of getting the information out there. So that was one thing that really kind of spoke to me about the difference and what I have learned about and thinking differently about joint operations. Before, you think it's just war fighting and when we're in a theater of war battles, but the intermingling of our money and our resources and our capabilities to fulfill these contract orders to provide to the warfighters, whether they be Naval, Army, Air Force, or Marines, was a great experience. Now, to answer part three, make the case for what I assess to be the most critical issue related to air power in the context of national security, warfare, or joint operations, I have to say it's the ability to be agile and flexible. I can't tell you how many classes and materials and articles we have read in the squadron officer school work that harps on being flexible, that we need to get away from rigid thinking of thinking that, oh, we do it this way, we always do it this way, and this is the way it needs to be done. Being agile, being flexible, looking at a problem and then realizing there are possible better ways of handling this than what there were before. I think that is the most critical issue, because that can relate to anything. If you think about it, it can relate to our national security. I mean, threats are changing seems like every day, on how people are attacking and how we are dealing with it. I mean, right, Pat? We have our fair shares of people trying to hack into our systems, cyber-wise. We have our fair share of people being less than intelligent when they try to get onto base when they shouldn't be. Same thing goes with warfare, and we saw that with the different theaters we've been in. You look at the wars and the skirmishes that we're having over in the Middle East, and how each time we are in a different country, we have to approach it differently, whether it's busting bunkers or urban warfare. And then with the joint operations, since you are involving multiple groups and multiple departments of the Department of Defense, multiple agencies, you have to be flexible and agile in not only your thinking, but your execution of all of those goals. If you're rigid, you're not going to be as successful as you need to be. So that would be my assessment, or my case on the most critical issue, is being flexible and being the ability to be agile when completing the goals, whether it be national security, air power, superiority, or warfare, or joint operations. All right, thank you.